Alrighty, says we're live, and I'd like to thank everybody for showing up. Just gonna take a minute to let some of the good folks from the flat Earth community get in here, so we can have a good old time. I got some things I want to share with you. Uh, me and the homie Vegan, we talked about some things last night. Um, But yeah, we'll be chatting about some things this evening. It's gonna be a good talk, good show, as it were. So this is what we're trying to do, kind of a weekly wrap up. I already sent Vegan the link, so he'll be on in a little bit. All right. Let me get this display screen set up. Okay. All right, back in the chat. Let me see. All right, got Earth is seriously flat. Thank you very much, Mr. Ape Drape in the house. Joey Sylvie, what's up, man? I was just about to send you a message too. Like, Joey, you gonna be on? What's up? All right. Let me see. I got Wolverine 314. What up? James Richardson, Job Real. All right, Jenny Bean, Nard Miller, Jonathan Woodley, Flat Earth Vegans, Conan 68. Ron Hackberg's in the house. Let me turn this thing down. Okay. All right. It would seem that the volume's working just fine. Happy Flat Earth Friday to you. I see you. Michael T. Powell, appreciate you. Dr. Lee, Liberty Repost, what's up with you? Mikhail Armstrong, is that Michael? All right, we're gonna say Michael. All right, Michael Beard, Tyler Philby, what's up, man? I see you. All right, I need to get out to Oregon again. I hadn't seen you in a while, Tyler. What's up? All right. Okay, so that's we'll just continue letting folks pile in on this thing, but this is gonna be good. We're gonna go over some things. But yeah, last night we went over the $10,000 baller um challenge. By Jay DeCasby. He's coming off of $10,000 for any of the heliocentric enthusiasts who feel so inclined to you know if that they're so confident that you can prove it. There's your chance to win some money, basically. So he's putting it up there, $10,000. And somebody was in one of the comments on the video from last night suggesting that we go a little, that we pile in a little bit more. And I think I may very well go ahead and put in on that. I think I put in on that. They can't prove that the Earth is a globe. They can't prove it. Nobody's been able to prove that. So, yeah, I think I will put in on that. Um, so yeah, to amount to be determined, but it doesn't really matter because it's not going to happen. I don't think they can do it. I'm still waiting. I want to see it, and I'm going to show you something a little bit later. Oh man, oh man, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. It's something a little bit later. I shared that with Vegan last night after we got off, and yeah, it's yeah. I'm working on some things. I'll tell you that. Me and my dude Mark, we're working on some stuff. We're gonna come up with something, uh, epic. I'm gonna say that. I'll go ahead and say that. I'm not arrogant to that degree, but it'll be something big. I promise you that. But I'm gonna show you part of what I'm working on with this specific project a little bit later in this stream. All right, Earth is seriously flat. Says flat earthers equals the force. Join the family. Yeah, it's a good time to do so. Very good time to do so. All right. So yeah, while we're getting started, let me go ahead and here. Let me do one thing real quick. Close that out. Get that a little bit bigger so I can see the chat. And still getting adjusted over here. I'm trying to get this thing set up. How's the video and the audio lining up? Is everything coming in? Coming in 5x5? Coming through loud and clear for everybody? I certainly hope so. So yeah, man, looks like we got Vegan in the house. Okay, so first things first. And I saw this earlier this week on Vegan's channel. He put this up, and I'm gonna share my screen, and we're just gonna go over this story that's come out recently. It's being put out to the mainstream now, and this is a big deal in my opinion. So yeah, let me just go ahead and do this screen share. Yeah, I'll just show the desktop and bring it here. All right, so here's what we got. This is a article coming out right now from the Wall Street Journal. Says, is it time for Pope Francis to resign? Oh, here, hold on. All right, Earth is seriously flat. Says love is bombarding children's websites with flat Earth. That's awesome. I appreciate you. Sure do. All right, so let's go ahead and read this. This is from today, but this has been mainstream for a little bit, and the big deal is that this story is getting to the mainstream. So let me go ahead and read through this. The world recently learned that former Washington Archbishop Theodore McCarrick had sexually harassed and seduced seminarians and even abused minors. Stunned and angry, Catholics demanded to know how church officials failed to stop his predations, which went on for decades. A purported answer came Saturday. Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano issued a testimony accusing several senior church officials, including Pope Francis, of allowing Archbishop McCarrick, who was also a cardinal, to enjoy influence despite knowing of his evil deeds. Archbishop Vigano, a former papal nuncio or ambassador to the U.S., urged the Pope to resign. Many Catholics agree that the Pope should resign if the charges are true, but are the charges true? What did the Pope know about McCarrick's affair, and when did he know it? According to Archbishop Vigano, around 2009, 2010, Pope Benedict ordered Cardinal McCarrick to leave the seminary where he was living, that's the previous Pope, and dedicate himself to private prayer and penance and avoid public life in the church. As for his many subsequent public appearances, even during the Benedict pontificate, and sometimes with Archbishop Vigano himself, Archbishop Vigano said that the legendarily well-connected cardinal's friends in the Curia looked the other way as he defied the sanctions. Archbishop Vigano claims that Archbishop McCarrick's successor in Washington, Cardinal Donald Wuerl, lies shamelessly in saying he knew nothing of his predecessor's immorality and criminality. Cardinal Wuerl also categorically denies that officials gave him any documentation or information regarding sanctions against his predecessor. Someone isn't telling the truth. Absolutely, it's starting to heat up out here, man. When they're coming out with these P words, I'm not gonna say the P word, but you know what I'm talking about. When these P words are being called to the carpet out in the open, and that's a pretty big deal, and definitely something to pay attention to out here. So, here, let me see. The Vigano testimony contains quotations and details about dates and meetings, but also interferences and insinuations. Skeptics argue that he is miffed and not being made a cardinal or out for revenge against churchmen who reject his conservative theology. Others have come to his defense by highlighting his integrity and love for the church. They also point to the few and partial denials from the accused. All right. So that look, I'll just go ahead and leave that right there. Get back to this thing, and we'll chat a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing the screen. Biggin, you there, man? Let me check the audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here, brother.
All right, hold on. Let me fix my stuff again. I'm on that rookie stuff. Hold up. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. All right, cool. All right. So yeah, man, what you think about that?
Well, it's a pretty deep topic, and it's something that we've been hearing about the Catholic Church for a long time. But I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole. We've been hearing about this in many churches, many denominations of abuse, homosexuality, and all this craziness that's going on. So, in this particular case, this guy that's making the charges, he was the ambassador for the U.S. He's one of a really popular a bishop who had a lot of influence, and he's also a known whistleblower from the reports that they claim. So
Hmm.
the last big scandal that the Catholic Church had, he was behind it. He was the one that leaked the papers to that, and I think it has something to do with the last pope resigning. So he was on track, I guess, to become a cardinal,
Hmm.
and this new guy, Pope Francis, basically retired him. He's been on retirement, and the stuff that I read on this particular whistleblower, he's 77 years old, and I guess he may be sick or ill or something. He said he's just going to spill the beans before he kicked the bucket,
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I get out of the whole story. He's saying that the existing pope knew of sexual predators in their ranks. Basically, he knew of it. He did nothing about it, and actually, he reinstated the guy. And just recently he retired the guy. So it's crazy, man. These guys got their own agendas, and they're taking advantage of their congregations, their followers. They're
Right.
not up to the moral standards that they claim.
I know, and that's one of those things that gets me, man. And I mean, that's been kind of a question in my head for years. Like, there was a couple years ago when Pope Francis came to the U.S. and I believe he was in Pennsylvania for a while, and everybody's like, "Oh, look, the Pope's in Pennsylvania. Pope's in Pennsylvania." I'm like, "Okay, that's great." And I'd even posted this on my Facebook. I was like, "Look, if the Pope ain't saying nothing about holding these pedophile priests to some degree of accountability, I don't care what he's talking about." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, because he's basically, I mean, how many years have we been seeing this come out? How many people have come out saying I was molested by father so and so at this place and at this time when I was a little boy? It's like grown men coming out the woodworks constantly saying I was molested by a priest, and the only thing that happens to these priests is they'll resign. They'll end up going to another district, another place where they're allowed to continue to to molest little boys,
Exactly.
and people are like, yeah, it's just a matter of it being a result of the whole vow of celibacy. But I'm like, it so their automatic default is to messing with little boys. So I mean, like right after that, okay, they take a vow of celibacy and they're hard up. They got needs. They're still men, but they automatically go to boys. Like, that's weird. And then there was one guy who was deep into that stuff. He was a high level Mason, and he had gotten into the Satanism, vampirism, and a bunch of other stuff. And he turned his life around, became a born again Christian. His name's Bill Schnoblin,
Right.
and he said in one of his videos that one of kind of like a prerequisite to becoming a Catholic priest. I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what he said. I'm pretty sure what he said was one of the prerequisites is that you have to become like a Satanist
Right.
to become a Catholic priest. And when he said that, it kind of like put two and two together for me, because I'm like, if one of the things that these guys do is messing with little boys and all that, then yeah, that kind of makes sense. Because it's um like institutionalized
Right.
behavior within Catholicism, man.
Yeah, I mean, and if you even go back in the history of Rome and the Greeks, that was the kind of stuff they did back then. See, a lot of people, especially us African Americans, we call it the Roman. I mean, we call it the Catholic Church, but what it really is the Roman Catholic Church,
Hmm.
Church of Rome. And what they got to understand is that was embedded in their culture for a long time. The Greeks, along, also the Romans, and it was fashionable to have a little boy plaything in that.
Yeah.
That's what they did, and they maintain. If you think about it, the Roman Catholic Church is all about maintaining their traditions.
Right.
So if their tradition is to sleep with little boys, they're maintaining it on the DL. I mean, the one question we should be asking is, if a regular person off the street molested a little boy, what would happen?
There you go.
They would catch a case. They would be put in jail,
Yep.
and I'm gonna tell you, the guys in jail don't like uh, people that hurt children. So a lot of these Catholic priests should be in jail.
Absolutely.
How can
Absolutely.
they have the power to not be in jail? How can you just move them around and all this different stuff? I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but outside the United States, you have an international police force called Interpol. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And pretty much all of Europe is subject to Interpol in some way. I believe Rome falls under that as well. So if there's any true evidence that priests anywhere in the world are doing something, there are police departments that should be locking them up.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not locking them up tells us exactly how powerful the church is. You
Exactly.
know, so there's a lot of craziness going on, and the bad part is we put up with it, we accept it.
Hmm.
It's okay. It's the Catholic Church, it's priests, it's this, it's that. Nah, and I don't care what religion it is. If you're hurting children, you got to pay. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You got to pay. So I don't think nobody gets a pass just because they say they're closer to God. That you don't get a pass from me. If anything, you should get a harsher punishment because you're not living up to your moral values.
Truth.
So
Absolutely. And I was having a discussion with a guy at my job today about that same thing. I'm like, it's obvious to, I mean, the like Joe Bag of Donuts. Everybody knows that there are different levels of the judicial system. Like it's not just a two track that the common private citizens have, and then there's the politicians have, and then, I mean, there's different levels. There's stuff that you can get away with, depending on your connections. I mean, because like you said, we couldn't get away with that. Like the average citizen gets caught for that, they're going to catch a case, they're going to jail. Do
right,
not pass go, do not collect $200. That's it. Or
right,
prison or jail. You know what I'm saying? They're getting locked up, period. I mean, we hear about these priests being brought up on being accused of these things. The men or boys come out and say this is what happened at this time, pointing the finger directly at them, and all they have to do is resign their position and end up going somewhere else. Like that's the only degree of accountability that they have. But I mean, we can't get away with that stuff. Like there's
right,
different standards of these things, man. And that's where I'm feeling a lot of people are having disparities about the state of the world, even because I mean, we can tell that there are certain protected classes that can get away literally with murder,
right.
that can get away with criminal behavior and have no repercussions. Just the same, man. I mean, but the fact that they're calling out the Pope on this, man,
Right,
that's a big deal because I mean, we in the truth community, we already know he's one of the major players on the world stage.
right,
And I read the article from that site, the Wall Street Journal, for a reason. The video you put up earlier this week, that was from Fox News. So this is hitting mainstream now. Like the
right.
mainstream, like the average person still plugged into the matrix watching Fox News and thinking that that's real. They got a little dose of that. Like, wait a minute, what you mean the Pope is protecting? They're calling for his resignation. This is
Right.
big. This is big stuff. You know what I mean?
And they're also sugarcoating it too, because
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of reporting it as there's dissension in the ranks of the Roman Catholic Church. You know what I mean? And they're making it seem like the guy that's snitching, is the whistleblower, um, is being vindictive because he wasn't made a cardinal. He retired before he became a cardinal. He retired as a bishop, and they're watering it down to a degree, but at the same time, the Pope isn't helping because he's claiming he won't say one word about this topic. You know, he actually said that to the media. I won't speak on this topic at all. You know, you can read what the other person says all you like, but I have nothing to say about it. And that's how he's dealing with it. And he's
Yeah.
getting a lot of backlash by saying that. But I'm gonna tell you what Catholics that believe in this Pope, all he has to do is say, I don't know what he's talking about, this guy is lying. And 90% of them probably believe him.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll probably
And
believe him. So what's making it so shocking is him basically saying, I'm not even gonna speak on this topic. And that's making it shocking because he won't even deny it. He won't even, you know what I mean?
facts.
But the moment he denies it, they're all going to be back on his bandwagon because they worship men. Some people look at the Pope like the Pope is God.
Yeah.
The Pope is a man. He's a man he's an elected official. That's basically what he is. And because they look at him as a God, all he has to do is deny it. The only shocking thing here is that he hasn't openly denied it yet, but he will. He will, and you'll see. And I'm just making a prediction here. As soon as he denies it, this story is going to go away because he's the holy of holies.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Dude,
All it takes is for him to deny it.
I really hope that's not the case, dude.
Yep.
Look, personally, I mean, man, I'm gonna be upset. Not too surprised, but still just a little caught off guard, man. If he slides with this while it's out in the open like that, man, I don't know, man. It's like
you heard it here first.
yeah. Y'all heard it here first, folks. If he gets off, look, we might have to bet like $20 or something, man.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Definitely. Well, it's two issues here. One, you can't impeach the Pope.
Right.
The Pope can only impeach himself.
Right, because as far as we know, there's nothing in place that can actually remove a Pope from that position.
Exactly. So that's number one.
Right.
Number two, I've already said it. People are so they worship the Pope, and because they worship the Pope, all he has to do is deny it. That's all he has to do. Man, and the majority of his Catholic followers will continue to follow him. Because half of them are making excuses for him now. Half of them are doing that now. You know what I mean?
Man.
So now you got half that's saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe the Pope didn't make a statement about this," and then the other half is saying, "He doesn't have to because he's a Pope." You know, that's how it is. But crazy. You know what? Again, let's not get caught up with this just being the Catholics. I remember when Bishop Eddie Long was exposed for having sex with boys in his church.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Remember that? You know, and T.D. Jakes and all those other guys came to his rescue.
Yeah,
and
what's up with that?
They all came to his rescue, right? And he basically denied it, and then the pictures came out and the videos came out, and multiple men came out and all this stuff. And then they just forgave him because he was Bishop Eddie Long. And just recently, I believe it was last year, or was it the year before, he died from AIDS or something. So I'm telling you, a lot of these people that are they violate their religious beliefs by worshiping men. The Bible clearly states you shouldn't be worshiping men. You should only worship God.
True story.
So they can't disassociate their leaders from God, and I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And here, that's crazy. I just hope that this comes to some sort of resolution, and that this does kind of work itself out. Now, we haven't talked about this. Maybe you and I can chat about this offline, or maybe get into a little bit. What you know about, just real quick, like what you know about QAnon, or what have you heard about that?
QAnon?
Yeah,
I never heard of it.
Okay, we'll move on then. It's a few folks in here. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. But here, let me do some
Is
shout
there
outs
a
real
reference
quick.
to religion or something?
Oh no. There it's kind of like this not so underground movement.
Uh,
Basically the idea is that there's some sort of good guys in government working with Trump to take down the cabal, and
uh,
they just leave these kind of breadcrumb um these little tips and clues and all that, encouraging people to do research and all that. And there, I mean, a lot of stuff's been going on that seems to corroborate the story
right.
behind QAnon. I've been, kind of keeping an eye on it, just looking to see what's going on. I don't have all my eggs in that basket. So
Are those the people that on the inside that are providing people like WikiLeaks and all them?
yeah, stuff like
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of tied in. Yeah.
okay, no, I never knew the name QAnon. Never heard that before.
All right. Yeah. Check it out. Check it out. We'll have to have a chat about that sometime.
Sure.
All right, let me do some shout outs real quick. That was Michael T. Powell. Appreciate you, says keep up the good work. Earth is seriously flat, says pet awards with diplomatic immunity taken. Q. All right, yeah, and we need that diplomatic immunity taken for real. Shout out to DR Lee. Thank you. Uh, MIDIHC said that's all, folks, pointing at a globe, laughing at it. Earth is seriously flat, says Hillary eats babies during satanic violent orgies. Good lord, man. And actually, yeah, that's more of that QAnon stuff. What the stuff that's coming out. But you look into it, man. I'm telling you, there's some wild stuff going on behind the scenes. Earth is seriously flat says check out Flat Earth Nation. It's a great channel. Uh, Ichiban Oxford, thank you. Says keep up the great work. I appreciate it. Rambo Jambo came through with the best suggestion ever. Says nuke the Vatican. Problem solved. That wasn't my idea. I'm just reading the comments. Appreciate it, Rambo Jambo. You're right. But okay. So all right, off to the next subject. Censorship. So this week, man, um, I was on Facebook and I was getting messages from people saying that if you like post a flat Earth meme or something, it's like they'll delete it. Like or it's like you'll post something about flat Earth and then you leave a comment, or if you like a meme or a comment under there, it's deleted immediately. And there was like multiple people coming to me saying that this was happening, and I like tested it out. But then after a day or so, it came back, and they kind of cut that out. But here, let me show my screen. I want to share this quick video of little censorship issue. Let me know if this can be heard through the screen. Okay.
All right.
So, all right. All right. Can't hear anything. Let me play this back. Matter of fact, hold on. Give me a sec. Let me see, man.
Hey, we got somebody in our chat named Brian Leak. He's
Mhm.
claiming he's accepted the $10,000 challenge like 10 times, and I'm not getting a response.
Oh
Brian,
yeah. Okay.
Brian Leak.
Oh, is that right, Brian? All right, here. Hold on. Let me play this thing. I got the. All right.
Goal is to promote authoritative content to our users. So we have two principles that guide the way here. That's the first one, is we want to provide users with authoritative, trustworthy information. I'm sorry to cut you off. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform. So the first way is by demoting low quality content and promoting more authoritative content. And the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of... Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the earth is not flat. Correct. Okay.
Man. So yeah, that was a quick chat from let me see, that was one of those congressional hearings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you just say they do an automatic response
Yep.
to try to debunk? Are you serious?
Yeah. Like Google's
So
doing
Facebook is responding to the conspiracy theories.
like I think that lady that was on that video, Yeah, I think she's over YouTube. I gotta check out that clip again. But yeah, that's what's going on right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically your answer is to put a box up that says no, the earth is not flat. Like for real? That is that what's going on right now?
Wow.
Yeah. The censorship is getting out of control and they're ramping it up, man. I'm telling you. Um and
See,
and
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying it just adds more credibility to flat Earth because, we get so much pushback from the trolls, we get so much ridicule, and we get all these knuckleheads saying that we don't know what we're talking about, we're idiots, retards, or whatever. And if we're just so off base and we got no idea what we're talking about, why is it that Facebook is deleting memes? Why is it that YouTube is out here saying we're just going to put a box up that says no, that the Earth isn't flat? Like that just gives us more credibility that we're getting so much pushback, in my opinion.
Right. Well, it sounds unconstitutional. I mean, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could say Facebook is a private platform and they have the right, blah 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 blah. But the issue here is what you just said. If why do they feel the need to do that? They feel the need to do that simply because they can't make the crazy people look crazy anymore. What we were talking about yesterday. I mean, in the very beginning, they just ridiculed us, but we're starting to get momentum, and now they just have to quiet us up. You know, they have to censor us, and that, to me, is. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but it's extremely un-American.
Yeah.
It goes against all our values.
Right.
Are we actually in that time where our values mean nothing anymore? We can just censor people just because we don't like what they're saying. Are we at that point now?
Well, yeah. This is a result of having liberals in Silicon Valley being the ones punching in the algorithms, because what happens is it's like on this platform or that platform, on Twitter, people are saying, hey, conservative commentators are being censored and blocked out this way or another. On YouTube, the same things happening. On Facebook, the same things happening. And what happens is it's a matter of conservative views and alternative views being suppressed as a result of the people putting in these algorithms, and they just blame it on the algorithms and then move on. Well, who's typing in the code? Who's punching in the code to create these algorithms? Well, it's the liberals that are running Silicon Valley, the programmers, that they're saying, well, I don't like what this person's saying, I don't agree with this. If somebody's backing Trump or whatever, they'll just kind of put the kibosh on it and shut it down. So that's what's going on, man. It's
Crazy.
like you said, un-American. It cuts into our freedom of speech. Like, I mean, if I wanted to, in their estimation, if somebody wants to identify as I think I'll identify as a purple elephant this weekend. And if you don't call me a purple elephant, then I'm going to be offended. But it's like, they're doing stuff like that. But at the same time, they're trying to crush free speech for anybody who is saying something that doesn't exactly go along with their agenda. So I mean, it's all messed up right now, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's the beginning of. I mean, I think we're already in it, but it's becoming obvious tyranny, and they've been talking about the tyrannical government for a long time, and they're really starting to show their ugly face.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I mean, I really don't like Facebook. I really don't like YouTube. I'm only here because it's where the people are. And that's the problem. Because there's so many people on Facebook, so many people on YouTube, they now have the power to literally control the narrative. And because they can control the narrative, they can take things that are so irrelevant to uplifting our communities. Because think about it, everything ridiculous doesn't get censored.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that means nothing, all the rap songs and the twerking and all that shit, none of that is being censored. But real discussions, people with real opinions that are in opposition of the government, that's the stuff they want to censor.
Yeah,
They don't want to censor the over sexualization of the information that's on the internet. But us just talking about the shape of the earth, they want to censor.
yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
It's a twisted situation, man. And it's what is that, man? It's one channel on YouTube. I forget the name of it, but there's a lot of stuff like this. It's like drag queen story time. It's like
Right.
a grown man with a ton of makeup on, with a wig, wearing a dress, and reading to children in a library. And I mean, drag queen reading time. That's exactly what it is, and that's crazy. That is crazy to me, and that's allowed. There's no problem with that. I mean, there's videos on YouTube with. Let me see. What there's a little boy, 8-year-old drag queen. Name is Lactatia. Calls himself Lactatia. His parents are backstage putting makeup on him, putting him in a dress, and he gets out on stage and he's twerking and stuff in front of a room full of grown men in drag, and that's not being censored. That's not being suppressed. But people talking about the shape of the earth, no, we gotta shut that down. Why?
Exactly.
That's craziness, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it tells you what their agenda is. Their agenda is to dumb down the public and have us focus on things that are completely unimportant, that doesn't uplift our communities or our societies or anything. And you know what? The oxymoron to all of this is the word liberal. The word liberal means to be free.
yep,
Liberated, liberal, to be free. How can you be for censorship of anything when you call yourself a person of freedom? It's an oxymoron. It's stupid, and people, and I used to tell people all the time, I don't know how we can follow African Americans in particular. We can follow Democrats anyway. Democrats brought us the Ku Klux Klan, you know.
mm-hmm.
So I don't understand that anyway. And I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. And if I did, when I did vote, I was an independent. But I don't even participate in none of this stuff anymore because it's all ridiculous to me. It's
Yeah,
buffoonery. So but the liberals are the worst. But when they had Obama, they didn't do nothing. They did absolutely nothing for 8 years. So they don't do anything for 8 years. They lose to a reality TV show knucklehead who has never held a political position in his life. And then they sit around and whine about it all day and cry and then want to censor people. So man, I don't like none of this. Our
yeah,
government
man.
is going down.
Yeah,
And it's a shame because it doesn't have to.
I'm saying it's going in a direction where, look, it's like they're not even concerned about hiding anymore. That's the scary part, kind of, because it's like they have like you said, went ahead and ripped the mask off, and they don't really care that we can put two and two together and see what the agenda is. Like, I mean, hey, we don't want anybody going against the system. We want to endorse people who are all about hypersexualizing children. If you're speaking too much truth, we want to shut you down. If you're saying something about anything that's contrary to the mainstream, shut them down. But I'm saying, man, it's craziness out here. It's craziness out here. But
Yeah.
that the censorship is kicking up a notch, people, and just keep an eye out. And man, there was something that you had said. It reminded me of a quote from Behold the Pale Horse, and I hadn't read that book in a while, but there was one part in it. Part of the agenda is to keep people caught up in things that have no real importance.
Right.
And that's been part of the agenda for a long time. And yeah, I got that book, and I believe it's in storage. But man, I was just looking for that quote. But yeah, there's a paragraph in there where he breaks it down exactly what you were saying, and that
Well,
makes a whole lot of sense, man.
Yeah, just keep the people distracted on things that don't matter. And while they focus on the things that matter to their benefit. So
Mm-hmm.
they're working on uplifting themselves while everyone else is under the spell of focusing on completely ridiculous things like the new rap song that's out, or how to twerk, or you know how to watch the lifestyles of the rich and famous, and what Beyonce got to say about this. And I mean, it's all mind control,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I'm a guy that grew up playing football. I coached football for many years. I played football through high school, college, and I hate football now. My city just won the Super Bowl, Philadelphia, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I grew up in.
Right.
But I can't enjoy it because I hate it. I hate it. I hate football. I can't stand basketball. I can't stand things that distract me anymore. Every
Yep.
now and then I may catch a game, but I won't even give it a complete sitting anymore. I'm sorry. I'm just at that point in my life where I see through the the distractions. I
Yep.
see through the distractions, and it's like, and I'll sit with my wife sometime, and we're sitting there, we're watching a movie or something, and I'm predicting what's going to happen. I'm saying, okay, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. This is going to happen. And she's looking at me like, how did you know? Because it's kind of predictive programming, you know.
Yep.
And everything is sexualized on TV. There's always some gayness happening, and it's always, I watched something on Netflix the other day, and it was a 16-year-old girl. I forgot. It was called Innocent. It's a brand new Netflix series that's on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weird kind of thing, but she's 16, but she's having sex, and she's doing this, and she's running away with her boyfriend who's obviously older. It's just they're trying to shape America into this moralist society where there's
Yeah.
no morals anymore. They're destroying any morals, in my opinion, and is trickling down to real people. You can
Yeah.
find some of these same things out here in the street now, where everyone just lacks morality. There's no structure anymore. That's just my opinion.
Oh no. That's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, yeah, and that's one of those things that happens. The society will kind of decay morally before the ultimate collapse, man. And that's looks kind of like where we're headed. And that's like I said, man, it's odd times. It's odd times, but you know, we'll continue to do what we can to
Absolutely.
make the proper shifts, just trying to be good people out here. And and like you know as far as the entertainment stuff, like you were saying, man, I can't stand that stuff either. I haven't, man. When a football season comes around, I may tune in to like 3 games,
Right. Right.
maybe one of them's probably the Super Bowl, and
Super
I'll
Bowl,
catch only
yeah.
half of that.
Right.
And then there'll be a couple games around here where I got nothing going on. I might turn it on. Oh, it's the
Yeah.
Seahawks versus the Cowboys. Okay, cool. I'll go ahead and watch that one. Just cause. And these guys at the office, we're coming to a point where casual Friday, or even beyond that. Folks got their Seahawks jerseys on and all that. I'm not judging. I'm just like, okay, that's cool.
Right.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah, it's
I'm
just so many people still caught up in that, and it's like it's kind of like I feel like I graduated from it.
yep,
It's it just means nothing to me anymore. I don't see the um, need to cheer for teams anymore.
right.
You know, 'cause I used to play, so it's kind of like when I did watch football, for example, I watched it for the strategy. I would look at it like someone watching a chess game. You know, I
Mhm.
looked at football that way. But all the hype, and they're hyping up this new player and this old player, and the commentators are biased, and everything is kind of like it's fictitious to me. It doesn't seem real. I think the NFL is the phoniest display of football ever. You know, I think I'd rather go to a high school football game and watch that and see it in its raw, natural form than an NFL football game. You know, I don't know. I just lost it, man. I was a lover of football. I played it in college. I hate football now. You know, but
Yeah.
again, because of social reasons, like you just said, I may go to watch the Super Bowl. You know, because my buddy's watching it or whatever, or the game is watching me. It's on in the room,
Right,
and
right.
we might catch a couple plays, but I'm not following it from beginning to end, from the beginning to the end. I'm not listening to the commentators. I prefer to turn the volume down if I do watch it. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Just
So,
just
yeah,
watching just to see. I don't know, just to have something playing in the background. I was never really into it. As
right,
far as the sports go, but I would I would tune. There was one year I started tuning in a little bit because I'm like, okay, so here we go, football season's coming around now. These cats at the office are going to be talking about this,
right,
and I'm just going to be sitting over there in the corner, like, so yeah. They're like, D, what you catch the game? I'm like, no. So that's the thing. Like every Monday, hey, you see what was going on yesterday at the game? You know what I'm saying? Oh, did
yeah,
you see that catch? Did you see that run? I'm like, no. So you know, so after a while, they just stopped asking and just stopped talking to me about it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and then there was one point a couple years ago. It was the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. They
right,
had did a office pool where I mean we would like pick what teams are going to win each week and all that. And I promise that whole season I watched like 3 games, like I said, and
right,
I was just picking stuff. You know what I'm saying? Look, full disclosure here. So I don't pay attention to it. I
right.
don't. So I'm just seeing what teams are playing. I'm like, let me see now. What would happen if a Buccaneer was to fight a Falcon? Who would win that way? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like picking games based on
Based on
that
the
type
logos, based
of
on the logos.
yeah, like that type of silly stuff. Just messing around.
The Viking beat a Redskin.
Yeah. I'm like, would a Viking beat a Redskin? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so if a Seahawk was to go against a Buccaneer, so you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that, just some
Right.
silly stuff, and not really paying attention to it. Seahawk would beat a Cardinal. I think a Seahawk would beat a Cardinal. I'm just playing games like that, and I ended up winning that year. Actually, I had the most correct picks as far as who won, but I was just guessing. You know, and
Right.
I killed him. I killed him, and took the little money out the pile, and went about my merry way. They're like, dude,
Yeah.
how are you ahead? I'm like, I don't know, man. Just
And,
just lucky.
there's so much information that has come out to say that a lot of these games are fixed too. Someone in the chat just mentioned that a lot
Yeah.
of games are rigged. You know, like that year your Seahawks was on the was it on the 1 yard line?
Oh man.
He threw the interception, and they had the #1 running back. And they didn't give him the ball. It was like, why are you passing on the goal line? Like, what are you doing?
I'll say that's like it's 1996. 2 seconds left on the clock. The Chicago Bulls, and then they're like, "All right, so what we're going to do? Pass it to Bill Cartwright." Like what? Obviously, you're going to get a ball to Jordan. What are you doing? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But dude, I'm saying it was so many people upset about that, but I'm like, it's just a game. It's just a game. But these folks feel like they get bragging rights, and I'm like, I don't know if you noticed this, but you don't play for that team.
yeah.
you didn't win anything, man. Yeah, but I get bragging rights. You're bragging on the accomplishments of other men, so it kind of doesn't translate over. Okay, never mind.
Exactly.
You know
Exactly. I can't live through another person. It's just. I mean, I used to. At one point, I was, in front of the TV set. I just, I just outgrew it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I outgrew PlayStation. I used to love Madden. I outgrew PlayStation. I outgrew all that stuff. It's like I just feel like it's a complete waste of time. You know,
Yeah.
just
It,
me.
I mean, it really is. It really is. And like you said, man, it's bread and circus. It's upgrades from the old Roman bread and circus, you know, and that's that quote, you know, give them bread and circus and they'll never revolt. And that's
Exactly.
basically what it is, man. And all the stuff going on in football these days with the whole you know, protesting the not protesting the anthem.
Right.
And from what I can tell, as I understand it, the original protest started with police brutality or what's being called police sanctioned murder. Because I mean, there's been so many cases where I mean, more often than not, okay, there's a confrontation, somebody bumps in, you know, has a run-in with the police end up shooting and killing someone, and then they get off with no repercussion. It's like incident, someone gets murdered, people march in the streets, the police officer gets to go on paid leave, trial comes around, they find the police officer within his right because he felt threatened, and he gets off.
Right.
And that just happens, and I believe that's what this whole thing is about as far as the protest goes. But I mean, it's like uh, the NFL is kind of not handling that properly,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because
Right.
I'm like, just to understand what it is like. They're not so much disrespecting the flag or veterans, because it's a lot of veterans who are like, well, maybe the police shouldn't be killing people. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
it's funny how they diluted their whole message. You know, they kind of got away from police stuff, and now it's you just being not patriotic. You know, it's they kind of masked the purpose of it, which is
uh-huh,
kind of well. I can tell you as a former police officer, I think one of the problems um, that they have in 2018, and probably includes the liberals, they believe anybody should be a police officer. You know, you can be a 4'9" woman and you can be a police officer, you know, in some police departments. You can be the littlest, skinniest, frail little person and you can walk around with a badge and a gun. You can be a big person that's completely, you know, um, um, unable to communicate well with others and become a police officer. My
right,
point, there are tons of people that should not be police officers. And when I was a cop in the 90s, um, I seen a lot of guys back then who were in the police academy that shouldn't have been there. You know,
mm-hmm.
I think you should be a physical specimen, number one, if you're going to be a police officer,
Or an
because
astronaut.
or after that, right? When I was a cop, just because of my sheer size, a lot of times issues would get resolved. And I wouldn't really have to open up my mouth. I would just have to walk up on the scene. But when a small, frail person walks up on the scene and there's two big guys fighting, it I think that should be taken into consideration when you have police officers. I think your police officers should be guys who are so tough that they really don't need to pull their gun unless they actually need to pull their gun. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't think that's the mentality now. The mentality is, oh well, anybody can be a cop. It can be a woman. It can be someone tiny. It can be someone this. No, you should be extremely intelligent if you're going to be a police officer. You should be physically fit and capable to handle yourself with or without a gun. And those should be some basic requirements. But in law enforcement, they've gotten rid of that. Now, anybody that watched police shows growing up can, when they hit the age of 21, they can be a cop. You
Yeah.
know, and I think that's part of the problem. There,
Yeah.
you know, it should be a discriminated, well scrutinized profession of what types of people that they allow to be police officers, in my opinion. And that opinion is not popular, especially with this liberal way of thinking. But you got to think about it, what cops actually do. If you're not a confident person, if you don't have a good head on your shoulders, you can escalate a situation more than de-escalating it. And a lot of these cops, they escalate situations. They don't de-escalate them really well. And the other issue I have, and I'll get off of cops in a second, a lot of times you'll have nothing but white police officers patrolling in black communities. You know,
in areas that they're not from,
people
that they're not familiar with.
They're not familiar with. So yes, color does matter. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you got to have all black police officers or all black communities, but you should have a reflection of race in your department that's servicing your community. It should be a balance, in my opinion. And a lot of these police departments are extremely imbalanced. So if you have this black community that thinks all white people are bad, and now all of a sudden white cops pull up, guess what? The situation may escalate simply because of the color of the police officers, you know?
Yep.
So I think those kind of things are the things we don't talk about because we want to believe you should be anything you want to be in America. But I totally disagree. If you're not bench pressing over 200 pounds, you can't be a cop.
Good call. Good
at
call.
Least 200 pounds. Yeah, you know, actually, I would say 250, but 200. If you can't rep 200 pounds 10 times, you shouldn't be a cop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if you can rep 200 pounds at least 10 times, the average person on the street, you're not gonna have a problem handling them.
Mm-hmm.
Average person on the street. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just like you got requirements for football, you should have requirements for being a real police officer. And you should pay these guys top dollar. And when they screw up, you should nail them to the damn cross. Mm-hmm. Because you're giving them so much trust, you're giving them so much power. If they get out there and do something ridiculous like kill someone and for no reason and stuff like that, they should be on damn death row, just like the criminals, you know. So we take care of them, but we hold them to an extremely high standard. Yep. You know, absolutely. That's my idea of a good police force, you know. But don't nobody will listen to me because they figure I'm crazy.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Joe Rogan about you on that show, so
whatever.
Yeah, that's the homie, man. Old Joe and Neil, was it? But yeah, all right. So here, let's shift gears real quick. Shout outs to the chat. I see Authentic Intents in the house. My man Josh, Mark Sargent's in the house. What's up, man? My man Rambo Jambo. Let me see. All right, Seek Bavik, Kayla, your tweet plays. Bunny. Who else we got in here? Everything's love. What's going on, peoples? All right, let's switch this up. Okay, so I tried to show you a quick video last night, and I kind of jacked that thing up, man. So let me try this one more time, real quick, like. And then we're gonna move on because I also, you remember that video that I showed you, you know, after hours. I'm gonna go ahead. I just kind of tweaked that one, and yeah, I want to show everybody what I got on that one so far. So here, let me share my screen and for this quick video that I did on these Discovery Channel frauds. All right, so let me see now. Try to sync this thing up. It's just a quick minute and a half thing. Cat Bobineau, who's a scientist who also starred in a famous episode from the Discovery Channel that's been touted as Crushing Flat Earth. Here's the description of the episode. In this episode, the volunteers take on some extraordinary tasks. To start, they visit a lake in Nevada. Using a helicopter, a boat, and a powerful laser, can they prove the Earth is round and even measure it? The point of manipulation in this episode is trying to paint these people as volunteers and or ordinary people. Listen to Stephen Hawking.
So with the help of a few ordinary people, I've asked 3 ordinary people to come on a journey of discovery.
Which brings us back to Kat, who lied about her science background.
My name is Kat Bobineau, and I am a scientist. I was born and raised here in Oakland, California. I grew up watching Bill Nye, the Science Guy. It was my favorite program when I was in elementary school. It worked. I'm not a scientist, and to be able to just do that off a whim, and it just came to me, that was incredible. And I am a scientist. I'm not a scientist. And I am a scientist. I'm not a scientist.
This is Cat Bobineau, a scientist, a liar, and another name on the long list of people who have set out to deceive you about where you live. All right. Yeah, that's all I got on that one. But yeah, man. I mean, we've been hammering these folks about that whole Discovery Channel crushed flat Earth thing for a while now, and
Right.
I mean, it's out in the open now. There's a lot of people covering this thing. Like I said last night, Globebusters went into that, and you know, I mean, we pointed this out week after week about how their laser test was off in comparison to my particular laser test. So, what I want to show you all, oh man, I want to show you some footage that hasn't been seen by anybody except Vegan Warrior, and there's one guy that I talked to right before I started this live stream up. So here, let me go ahead and get this thing queued up real quick.
You think they're gonna be ready for you, man? You might hurt them.
I don't know, man. Is everybody ready to see the globe be crushed? Cause this right here, oh,
the nail in the carpet,
man. Watch this. Hold up. I'm just gonna cue this one up real quick. Like, hold
on. Get the hammer and nails. I'll be right back.
Hey, yeah. Watch out, everybody. It's about to get critical in here. Let me share my screen. I'm about to show you something so crucial. Call your friends. Make sure that they're seeing this right now. I'm gonna put this on the big screen so you can see it. All right. Ready. This is just something I'm working on right now. So I'm showing my spot. Now let's take a closer look at my position on the beach at Saltwater State Park. So I put a pin down right about where I was during the laser test and the live stream. There was a point where I was showing the view to the audience and did a pan around the beach area where I was at. One thing that you'll notice is this little building here. Also, there was another point where I was able to get some of these rocks on the shore, this little area. The beach is actually pretty small. There's a little rope here that acts as a boundary line separating the beach for public access, and then there's the private property here. All right, so that's a match, right? But also there was a video that I cut it off. Now I'm going to show you a zoom in from Mark's position. So that's me showing the shoreline back at Ruston Way. You see the islands on the left side, and then zooming into my position from across the water 10.3 miles away. See? There's a little building right there that was on my right side. I could have cut this part out. I'm just still tweaking it, but this is what I got so far. I got some stuff to add to it. And you see those other two buildings match up right there. Yeah. And then you see those houses match up just the same. Now that we've matched up the positions of these buildings on the map, now my relative position is between those two buildings, so it's pretty safe to assume that on the beach I would be positioned right about here. All right. So then we're going to zoom out. Now watch this. Pay attention to this part. And that is an example of direct line of sight. But some people still have to see it for themselves in action. All right, fine. You shining it right at me, dude. Nice. Very nice. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. You seen it here, folks. All right, cool. Shut it down. What part of the laser beam shouldn't be visible do you not understand, globe heads? That's the question right there. Huh? So that's what I want to ask them globe believers out here, man. What you think about that? Right there. Huh? You get all that one?
Yeah, that's. I mean, how much curvature should be? Was it 7? You said 80.
Yeah, it should have been 70 feet of curvature between us.
Curvature, right? So
Yep.
that beam should not be able to make it to the other side.
Heck no, it should have been blocked by the curvature of bulging water between us. But in this next video that I'm going to present, and I mean, we still got some work to do. I mean, look, I ordered a laser. I ordered a 5,000 milliwatt laser. And that one has a range of 18 miles. And I just got the email saying that one shipped. So that one should be here next week, actually. So, I mean, Mark and I, we're going to get out there and continue working on some things. And I don't even want to tell you. I don't even want to tell you exactly what we're going to do. It's going to be sick. I can tell you that. It's going to be sick. And then I'm going to add the video that we take on the next time we go out there to what I just showed you, and then just kind of package that up. So we're going to tear it up as far as the whole idea of the refraction. We're going to break down to just show you that it's just direct line of sight, because obviously the P900 was able to just zoom right across the water. I'm going to show you exactly where I was, match it up. Okay, on Google Earth, it shows you these little buildings, and then you can see it directly from the P900. It's going to match up there, so that's going to be direct line of sight. That zoom, you shouldn't be able to see it. And then, just showing the laser going from one end to the other. You can see when Mark moved the camera over the laser, and you could see the beam, the blue beam going across the water. That was a straight line, man. That was a straight line. The globe's, dude, if the globe's not dead, it's gonna be in a little bit. I can tell you that.
You know what you need? You know what you need? You need 2 globe earthers.
Mm-hmm.
You need one globe earther to stand shoulder to shoulder with him, and one to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. And he record on his end, and you record on your end, and you have them verify the beam going straight across. What you think?
I mean, that's something I'm probably gonna end up doing real soon, because there was this guy in Alabama. He's a YouTuber, and yeah, he's like, yeah, send me the laser. I'm like, all right, well, I may have to hand deliver it. So the thing is, I'm gonna probably fly out to Alabama so we can do a joint laser test, because
Okay.
he's acting like he's gonna do it like by the rules, by the book. And I mean, if we can get a couple of globe earthers to join us for an actual laser test across, and he plied out area that's like about 11 miles, about 11-mile stretch of water. And I forget the river. I want to say the Tennessee River. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's all plotted. We're gonna work this thing out. And the last thing I heard from him was, let me know when the laser gets here. Well, the laser will be here next week, so we'll start working stuff out. So,
Right.
we're gonna,
Let me correct what I said, because Christian jumped on me, and he's right, or she's right. We don't need them. We don't need any globe earthers.
fact.
I'm just saying it would be nice if we can get some to witness what we're witnessing.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. We definitely don't need them, because, I mean, if you're asleep, you're asleep. I mean,
Right.
I can't force you to wake up. I mean, they can make an excuse right there on the spot and say, well, how do you know it's going across? They can say whatever. If you can see it, it's going across. It's that simple.
Period.
Right.
Period. And I'm thinking that's going to be a wrap. That should be a wrap. Actually, it should have been a wrap with that first laser test because they couldn't scream CGI because I was live streaming. That's the thing. They can't say you manipulated the video. I'm like, nah. It was 150 people on the stream when it happened, and they all saw the laser coming across at the same time. And then I showed on the camera, they could see it recording on my P900. So that should have been game over at that point. But people are still out here. You know, you got Homo sapien. I mean, old dude, still running his mouth, talking about the laser test. And I'm like, look, here's the thing that bugs me about this guy. He's a smart dude. Okay. At this point, for anybody to sit here and deny that is what it is, like, nah, refraction. I'm just going to demonstrate refraction and blah, blah, blah. And, because the light can't actually bend. It was somebody actually said some crap about gravity is able to cause the light to bend. I'm like, gravity? Is that what? Gravity caused the light to bend. Like, for real, dude?
Yeah, gravity is sucking it to the ground, huh?
Yeah, man. Gravity's pulling light to the ground. That's why when you pull out your flashlight, you'll like hold it straight, but then the light just kind of bends downward. Like, well, what do you mean gravity? Shout out to Rambo Jambo, Death to the Globe Deception. You got that right. It's going down.
Yeah.
But yeah,
man.
I
gotta correct you though, man. I gotta correct you.
Oh, go ahead.
When you say somebody is smart, you gotta always complete the sentence. He's smart about what?
he seems to have the ability to one of his things is thinking critically.
Okay.
He puts that in his videos about thinking critically. He seems to be an intelligent chap. And he's able to articulate these points and seems to be able to put across these convoluted topics surrounding the globe with such precision about how he articulates his points and all that. But at the same time, I'm like, if you're so inclined and if you can so obviously figure these things out about the globe, and you're sitting here saying that you're a critical thinker, how is it that you claim to be so keyed into that which is science, but then you just disrespect the idea of Occam's razor? Because Occam's razor states that I believe that says that the most obvious answer is typically the right one.
Right.
Let me see. We're across the Puget Sound, 10 miles away. I know that lasers fire in a straight beam. I know that water in significant accumulations, the surface is typically flat. You were able to see the laser from 10.3 miles away. I'm going to say it's refraction. Like, what? So as if now we're not only contending with bulging water, we're now contending with lasers curving over the bulging water some way or another. So at this point, I'm like, dude's just being dishonest, intellectually dishonest. It's either his ego because he's gone so hard against flat earthers thus far, or he's a freaking troll. He's a straight up, he's getting paid to put out disinformation and mislead those people that follow him. And I mean, that's just my conclusion. Dude's either faking, he's a troll, he knows it's flat, and he's just going along with what he's been told to put out to the people. Something's up with this cat, man, because there's no way that you can sit here and any rational thinking person wouldn't be able to sit there and say, well, I don't know, man.
Well,
that's a laser from across the water. I mean, you're not really supposed to be able to see that.
Right. Well, to be intelligent, you must realize that you don't know everything.
There you go.
So if you think you know everything, by definition, you're not intelligent. That's one way to look at it. So a lot of these guys, you touched on it, they lack humbleness. They've been taught something for so long, they have this cognitive dissonance where they don't want to believe that they could have been deceived for so long. So instead, they defend the status quo. They defend the narrative because that's their comfort zone. And a lot of these guys don't want to be perceived as wrong. That's what it comes down to. But then again, me, I'm a conspiracy realist. So I think a lot of this stuff is contrived. They're doing it because they got to protect their way of life. When we say that the earth is flat and it's motionless, it attacks their status quo. Because that means everything we've been taught about the earth in some way is inaccurate. If we disprove gravity, everything is a lie. Yep. Everything, literally everything about cosmology is a lie if we disprove gravity. And that's why they came up with the ideas of gravity, to keep their ideas, realistic in their descriptions. But it's not realistic when we destroy the concept of gravity. We destroy the concept of us being on a flat plane. I mean, of being on a ball and actually being on a flat plane. It destroys their stuff. So they got to fight to keep it.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad. It's kind of getting sad. And I mean, look, from my perspective, it's looking like they're getting desperate. It's looking kind of sad, looking like they're really desperate at this point because
the censorship, all that stuff.
Yeah, they're like I'm saying, there's the censorship, there's the constant trollings, there's these TV shows, there's commercials that Samsung commercial starts off with, well, the earth is not flat, and it's about a flat screen TV. And I mean, they just start off with, or it starts off with a question, is the earth flat? Like, that's the first question they ask. I'm like, why would you even, what? And then, there's the lady in front of Congress. They're like, so basically you're going to put a box up saying the earth is not flat. Okay, good. Like, what? You don't get to.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, man. It's like, they're looking desperate at this point, and we are going to win this thing. This is a numbers game. They look, like I said last night, they work from the paradigm of retention. We work from the paradigm of expansion.
Right.
This is a numbers game. This is a war of attrition. We're going to win because nobody's going back to believing in the globe, and people are waking up to flat earth daily. I'm pretty sure I red pilled like 3 people today. So it's going down. It's going down. I already know.
See, the problem is they get us young. They attack the kids, and the kids grow up and they got to be able to resist it or hear the alternative at a young age. And then rationally, they could work it out as they age. But if they only know one way, it's going to be harder for them to snap from it, snap out of it. So it's still a challenge, man. It's still an uphill battle. They have so much control over us through indoctrination in the educational system.
Yeah, man. And I mean, my like you were saying, it's about the ego, and if you think you know everything, then that's the issue. And who was that? Plato said, the only wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing.
Right.
I'm like, that's the beginning.
Was that Socrates? I think
it was one of those cats. Socrates. Yeah. It might have been Socrates or one of those cats. One of these philosophers. That made sense to me. I was like, well, yep, cool. That'll work. Just admit that you don't have it all figured out, and then that's the trademark of an open-minded person, being able to say, I don't have it all figured out. Still at this point, I don't have it all figured out. People come to me asking about, hey, what do you think the moon is? The moon's weird. That's my answer for the most part. I'm like, the moon's weird. That's what it is. You think it's a projection? You think no, it's not solid. I don't know about it being a projection. I did see the little lunar waves and all that. I have seen that. I've seen that with my own camera. I still got some videos on my laptop that I haven't put onto a video just yet. Recording stars, recording the moon, things like that. And I see the little ripples going across the moon. I'm not going to pretend that I know what it is or exactly, but my thing is, my focus on this whole thing is the deception. I'm focused on exposing the deception, and the way to expose the deception is to keep our feet on the ground, improve our ground game, and just show that the ground isn't curving.
Right.
That's just where I'm at with it.
Exactly. I mean, if we keep it that simple, I think more people will get it. If we get too complex in this discussion, it's going to drive people not to even look. You know, you keep it simple, and they get the simple aspects of what we're saying. Then they'll dive in for the more deeper explanations. And I like to come at it that way. I like to come at it from an experience. You know, if you let's talk about what we experience, and then let's talk about what they say it is. And when you start comparing the two, there's contradiction. And in that contradiction, it makes you want to dive in deeper, you know. But I mean, it also there's a historical thing going on here with me, as far as they have a history of lying. You know, there's a lot of people. You know, there's more people that deny the moon missions than flat earthers. There are more moon mission deniers than there are flat earthers. And I think, honestly, that's our niche market. In my opinion. And the reason why is because if you deny the moon missions and you don't believe we sent anybody in space, how could you possibly assume they know the shape of the earth? I think we talked about this yesterday. And a lot of people stick to their guns there. They say, well, the earth is round, but we didn't go to the moon, but the earth is round. Really? Right. Okay. Well, how did they know the earth is round if they didn't go to the moon? Because when you think about it, there's nothing more concrete that one can do than leave the plane, go to the moon, land on the moon, and look back at the earth. There's nothing more concrete than that, in my opinion. So if there's nothing more concrete than that, and they didn't do that, let's say the moon deniers don't believe they ever did that. How could they know the shape of the earth?
Exactly.
You know, they talk about, and a lot of guys, they reference, you know, the shadow stick experiment 500 years ago, you know, all that. I'm like, it's all BS. That's all theory.
Right.
They didn't have airplanes or none of that stuff back then, you know?
Yeah, and that was I watched the video you put up earlier. It was about the flat earth awakening, or the truth about flat earth, I believe it was titled.
Right.
And by the way, folks, if you aren't subscribed to Vegan Warrior, Joey, can you put a link in the chat for them to get to my man's page? Subscribe to Vegan Warrior.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. It's too much truth over. It's too much. It makes people's heads explode sometimes. I'm serious.
Check my man out. Check my man out.
Not become a subscriber if you think you're just gonna get a typical YouTube channel. You're not. It's deep over there. We go deep down the rabbit hole over there.
Yeah, man. And what you have put there is like, people are always saying, well, yeah, I mean, we've known that the earth was a globe for the last 500 years. And then they'll go back to saying, well, you know, back who was that? Pythagoras, like, you know, back 500 BC. So it's like, was it 500 years or was it 500 BC, 2500 years ago? Like,
exactly.
Can y'all get your story together, please?
Right.
Exactly. You know,
yeah, the Greeks were talking about a globe Earth 2,500 years ago. So, but they're trying to say that our Copernicus and Kepler and Galileo and who else? Isaac Newton and all those guys, they're the ones that proved it. Like, nah, bro, they ain't proved nothing. It was all theoretical.
Yeah, with Eratosthenes and the two sticks.
Exactly. Well, the two sticks were 500. Was it 500 miles apart?
Yeah.
How in the hell did they do that experiment simultaneously? You know, one guy called another guy on their cell phone and said, "Hey, all right, I'm doing it now."
Right.
You know, and how did they travel back then? What did they have? High-speed boat? Did they have, you know, hot air balloon? Did they have a car? No, they have horses.
Yeah. I'm saying, man, look, and here's the thing. It's like, you know, we all got, we probably all seen that video, Neil deGrasse Tyson saying that whole situation can also work on a flat earth with a close sun. I mean, just the same. Okay, they're talking about They're talking about sticks and shadows. So here, let me lean this down a little bit. All right. So let's say this is the sun. Oh, look. Hold on. I'll pull this back over here. You know, oh, look, the shadows are working differently. It's like I can have it over here, and then I could, pull it back there. I mean, the shadow, come on now. Seriously. The shadows can be manipulated by a close local sun just the same as like you can't see a shadow on this one, and then over here you can see a shadow. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but what they do is like they'll manipulate the numbers. They kind of reverse engineered. They looked at the they looked at reality, and then they said, okay, what we're going to do is look at reality, and then we're going to reverse engineer mathematics to actually shape or fit what we actually see. Like, come on, man. They just kind of backpedal with the whole thing, and everybody's like, okay, so what's the equation for this? And that reminds me of that Tesla quote where he said that today's scientists have substituted equations for experimentation, and they'll provide equation after equation built on top of each other until they ultimately come to a construct that has no semblance to reality or something. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was pretty much the same thing. Like, you're substituting reality for numbers, and that makes absolutely no sense.
Absolutely. And that's the cult of Pythagoras. Pythagoras was the one that really hit that home, and he created a cult following behind it. And if you look up in all these guys' research, Kepler, Galileo, Copernicus, all of them, they were all Pythagoreans. Mm-hmm. And the Masonic order also follows the Pythagorean idea. So it's all Pythagoras, in my opinion. It all comes from him. He's the one that said everything is number. Everything is number. And then I think it was in 2014. I can't remember that guy's name. He's another black astrophysicist or whatever the hell he is. He said that he looked at us cells at the molecular level, and he's seen ones and zeros. That's what he said.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, because the guy with the glasses and the afro.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that guy. Yeah, and I remember that conversation. They were on the he was on the stage talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's like, ones and zeros. We took up the nature. We chopped it up, and we got really into nature. And what we ultimately discovered was, we found code. And not only was it a complex code, it was the complex code that's used in computer simulations. And I'm like, really? You found? Is that what you found? Is that really what you found?
Exactly. People believe them.
Yeah.
The whole idea that we live in a computer stems from that idea. Yep. That we're nothing but code in a computer. God created this master computer, and we're all just some type of avatars inside that computer. We're all ones and zeros, basically. We're computer code. But what people don't understand is that idea is over 2,500 years old with Pythagoras. He said the same exact thing in his way, that everything is number. Everything is code. That's equivalent to what we say today versus what he said back then. And this is, again, when I say he said, this is all contrived stuff that I've read and looked at that may not necessarily be true, but it's out there. It's in the domain where you can actually read up on Pythagoras and the ideas of his cult. And back then, even back then, they looked at him like he was crazy.
Yeah.
It took centuries for people to really buy into Pythagoras. Even after he, he did some good things, but then he had other things that people didn't like. So the bottom line is the Masonic order follows that to the T. Everything is number. Everything is about Pythagoras, and it's not just the Masonic order. And I got to watch my wording here. It's theoretical science. Theoretical science. They're the ones that come up with these ideas, and they pass it off as truths. And And as kids, we got to learn it. We get tested on it, and we got to be able to regurgitate it.
Yeah.
And now we got grown people regurgitating stuff they don't have a clue about, but they're claiming it's true.
And calling that reality, and calling anybody that doesn't go along with it crazy, or other derogatory names. It's just kind of sick where we're at, man. It's really sick. It's like, if you don't believe in their dogma, you're an outcast socially, and it's ridiculous.
Right. Instead of having a discussion with us, and maybe we can work together. I mean, can you imagine if flat earthers and globe earthers came together and we challenged each other? And that's why I made that recommendation. If you had two friends who were globe earthers, right?
Yeah.
If you could have them standing right beside you while you're doing that test, that's bridging the gap, in my opinion. That's because, let's say you prove, well, you've already proven it, but you prove it again and again and again and again, right?
Right.
Absolutely nothing if globe earthers don't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Proving flat earth to flat earthers is kind of an oxymoron, right? We kind of know already, right?
Yeah.
But these people that's on the fence, these people that are who are just not thinking about it, and now we need to give them something to think about. These types of experiments are perfect for them. And those are the people we hope can actually learn from a lot of the stuff that the flat earth community is bringing to the table. At least I hope.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And that's something that I've kind of gotten away from lately. I've been more standoffish with these folks. When I first started, what my whole idea was, we're all flat earthers. I mean, we are all flat earthers. It's just that a lot of people just don't realize it yet. And my approach, what I would rather try to instill in myself, and what I need to be trying to focus more on, is trying to bridge the gap and realize that we're all going to be flat earthers within 2 to 5 years. I'm thinking 2. Easy. This stuff's spreading out too quick, unless there's something that shuts the internet down, or I don't know, whatever else tragedy might take place. I mean, this is going mainstream, and I mean, flat earth is one of the hottest trending topics in the Google searches, or on the search engines. One of the top trending, like, all over the place. There's a lot of people talking about this stuff. There's a lot of people waking up to it. And that's a big difference from where it was a year ago. Because a year ago, you would be out talking flat earth and people would say, no, man, I hadn't heard it. What do you mean flat earth? And now you talk to somebody about it. In my experience, people are like, oh yeah, I heard about that. I'm like, aha. It's becoming that much easier because people are starting to hear about it more. And that's the cool part about what's going on with this thing. So, it would make more sense trying to get along with these folks, but I mean, it's
hard. It's hard. I mean, I'm not saying we should go bow down.
Not at all.
I'm saying when we have the opportunity to include them, we should. That's all I'm saying. Because they got to be ready for it. Because the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to go through shock. They're going to go through, oh my God, I can't believe this is true. No, you got to be doing something wrong. This got to be a trick, or, there has to be an explanation why they're seeing what they're seeing that debunks flat earth. A lot of them are going to go through that. I always tell globe earthers, we're all flat earthers. There's no human being that experiences the earth as a ball.
Right.
None of us. But everyone experiences the earth flat with various terrain changes. Everyone. There is no continuous slope that leads all the way down to Australia. No matter how you look at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you get in an airplane and you're traveling 500 miles per hour, 35,000 feet in the air, and every hour you're knocking off 500 miles, and then 2 hours you got 1,000 miles, 4 hours you got 2,000 miles, and so forth. You are literally working your way around a ball, if you believe that. For you to actually work your way around a ball, you must have a continuous sloping of the horizon. You have to. That nose of that airplane must dip. Let's say you got an 8-hour flight traveling at 500 miles per hour. That means you've just covered 4,000 miles. 4,000 miles is 1/6 of the Earth. 1/6 of the Earth. I challenge anyone, grab any sphere, a basketball, a volleyball, anything, and travel 1/6 of that ball and don't experience curvature.
Yep.
It's not possible. You can't travel 1/6 of anything that's a sphere and not experience curvature. You know, and for some reason, a lot of these guys, well, no, it's perspective. Well, how is it perspective? We're talking about a mass, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very funny.
Yeah.
My preacher box.
Man, it's wild how folks will come out the woodwork with these excuses to try to justify that stuff, man. It really is perspective, refraction. That's my new favorite these days. Beam dispersion, light divergence. That's what I've been dealing with personally. But I'm saying, man, it's all coming down. It's all coming down. There's not gonna be a whole lot of hiding behind the weird ideas that these folks got about what the earth is. Not coming up real quick, man. Look, what I want to do is kind of coordinate with a lot of people, and we all like upload that video that I'm going to drop like at the same time, like we did that convex earth thing, just the same, because a lot of people mirrored that video like real quick and we're anticipating that. So I need to get in the back channels with folks, doing personal messages like, hey, I'm about to put this video up, you can go ahead and mirror it or whatever. This is gonna be game over for real. But I mean, and monetize it too. I don't care. I just want people to know about where they live. That's all. That's my thing, man. I just want the truth out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Shout out to Quatron Flat and thank you, and Miss Deborah. I sure appreciate you. Says thanks for the informative programming. Thank you so much.
Oh, I hate that word programming.
I know. Well, there's that.
We're not programming you guys. We're just asking you to think.
That's it.
All we're doing.
That's it. That's it.
Think on your own.
That's it. We like free thinkers. We like to, have folks have these stimulating conversations, and hopefully it's productive for everybody, and positive, uplifting. And I'm saying, man, I'm out of topics, man. You got anything?
I mean, we stay on flat Earth and we just keep it rolling. I mean, the bottom line is people are allowed to believe whatever they want to believe, and it's nothing wrong with you having your beliefs. The problem comes in when you say it's truth. If you know that something is true, other people should be able to experience what you're claiming. We in the flat Earth community, we are talking about, well, most of us, we're talking about the things that we have experienced that you can share just like we can share. But when you start talking about many of the ideas of the globe Earth, you just got to have blind faith. You got to have trust. You got to believe in your government. And when I say government, NASA, if you didn't know this, is a government agency, and I honestly believe SpaceX is nothing but a spinoff of NASA, so you got to believe those guys. What we're saying is look at your own world and you'll see a direct contradiction to what they claim.
Yep.
That's all we're saying. We're not even saying, well, I'm saying the Earth is flat because that's how we experience it, and no one experiences the Earth as a ball.
Yeah.
To me, it's simple. But to you, it may be, well, damn, flat Earth is in contradiction to ball Earth. Let me look at it. If you take a true look at it, you're going to see we're not crazy.
Yeah.
And what we're saying, you can experience if you pay attention.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty much all I got to say about it,
Hey, these are facts. And here there's a Sikh Bavik in the chat saying we need to take it to the streets. And that I encourage that. I encourage that. And
You take
you
it to the
know,
streets every day.
yeah,
Your van is in the streets every day.
right. I stay in the streets. I'm saying I see anybody running up wanting to take a picture of it. I'm like, okay, cool, and I'll wave at them or something. I'm like, you got any questions? They're like, no. I'm like, all right, cool. Sometimes I'll just be in here chilling, editing video, whatever. I just jump out while somebody's taking a like, dude. I can be parked somewhere and somebody will drive all the way across the parking lot, pull up next to the van so they can like stop, read, take a picture, and they're like just staring at it. For dudes, the funniest parts is when when somebody will come all the way across the street and then they'll just pull up to the van and just sit there for about 2 minutes, just like it's the funniest thing, man, because I can see the wheels turning in their head. And I mean, I get these different reactions, man. I already told y'all about getting flipped off by the old lady one time. That's fun, but what I do is build my argument. That's why I go do these tests, these experiments, make these observations to build my argument. And look, I can tell you this. I can speak confidently to anybody about flat Earth at this point because I get to say, well, yeah, I did this. I actually went to Alaska. Well, how does the sun work? Well, the sun makes a clockwise circuit over the North Pole. Really? Yeah. Here's this video that I took when I went to Alaska a couple months ago, and I can say I did that. What about this? I mean, how does this work? Well, look. The thing is the Earth is flat. So I did this laser test, and I'll pull out that video, and they're like, well, that's 10 miles. How much curvature was that supposed to be? I'm like 70 feet. Oh, well, it's like I can tell them what I'm doing and just point them back to that and say, all right, this is my channel. I got this playlist called Strong Proof, Strong Evidence of Flat Earth, something like that. Check that out. And it's like, my most hardcore flat Earth videos. And I mean, I'm just out here all the time. So people like my man Zoom Truth, Authentic Intent, John Smith, Globe Lie. These cats are out here on it, out in the streets, talking to people, making big moves. And I'm saying that's like the stuff that we could all be doing, to some degree. I mean, I might need to go out and do some activism videos, man. Honestly, I might need to hook up with some people so I can make some activism videos. Quit talking about it, D. Be about it. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool. You know what I'm thinking about doing? I'm thinking about wrapping one of my vehicles and doing it professionally.
Yeah.
And, the Earth is flat. And it's not even that I want them to go to a website or anything like that. I just want to put the message out there, kind of like how you have it on your windows.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to wrap the whole vehicle, and I may do that in the next few months.
Yeah, I'm saying folks is telling me I need a professional wrap, and I'm like, yo, if we can get it done some way or another, this is my primary vehicle, so I need, I might need to get this thing done.
That's your house.
Yeah, I'm like, so if we can get this done in like a day or so, then sure. Or if I can, take it in to get it wrapped and get it done in that day, and then if we don't get it done, take it back the next day. I don't know how this goes. Just let me know, and we can make something happen. But yeah, man, I'm repping this thing. I want people to know about this stuff, man. I want people to know about this. So folks out there in the streets, man, much respect, especially folks risking getting into trouble, like my man Zoom Truth. Like I said, man, he's out in New Jersey, out on the boardwalk talking to people, and I mean folks are like calling the cops on him,
really?
So, yeah
that's in my neck of the woods. Really?
Yeah, man. I don't know the exact spot, but yeah, check out a couple of his videos. I believe he puts up the location, and he's out there on the boardwalk. He's got signs and all that, and he's talking to people. He's like, so hey, anybody just shouting, just talking. Right. Hey, anybody care to explain how you know that you live on a spinning ball? How do you know that you live on a globe? Do you believe in the moon landings? You know, he's just asking random people just walking by, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, man, I mean, that's what it is. You know, activism, just spreading the word. And like I said, man, I was at the spot this morning. I was out in a parking lot, and I pulled out my phone, and the sky was really clear. And like this time of the moon cycle is where you can see the moon during the daytime. So I pulled my phone out, and I'm like, okay, there's the moon right there. And then I pan it back over here. I'm like, all right, there's the sun. And I pull it back over there. These two guys come out of the building. He's like, oh, you looking up at the moon? I was like, yeah. He's like, you know, the earth is flat, right? I was like, of course. You know, and the other guy that was with him, he started asking me questions, and I just started going through it with him. And then, you know, we were talking for like 20 minutes.
Right.
Not going to say whether or not I was on the clock when I was flat smacking, but but you know what I'm saying? It's like you know, just getting out chatting with people, man. And he was already a flat earther, or he was already riding with a flat earther. By the time we parted company, he was like, that makes sense, man. Why?
Yeah.
But why would they lie though? I'm like, hey, look, I got a video on that. Here's my card. Check it out. You know, like and subscribe, and you know, we'll be in touch. He's like, yeah, I work around here too. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, you know, I'm right over there. He's like, all right, yeah, I see your van all the time. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people see my van all the time. So, you know,
Yeah,
but yeah, man.
Well, one of the things I've been talking about a lot online recently with a few people, I haven't talked to nobody face to face with it yet, is earthquakes. There's a lot of people who have experienced being in an earthquake. And I'll ask them, I say, do you know how it feels to be in an earthquake? They're like, yeah. I say, you do realize an earthquake is the earth moving? They're like, yeah. I said, well, when you don't have an earthquake, they claim that the ball is moving.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do have an earthquake, they claim that during that earthquake, the ball is still moving.
Right.
We can't distinguish between the moves. We know what an earthquake feels like, but we don't know what the spin of the earth feels like.
Yeah.
And not only do they say the earth is spinning, they also claim that it's wobbling also. So you got a wobble, you got a spin, and you got an earthquake. The earthquake is reality because we obviously feel it.
Yes.
But the wobble we don't feel, and the spin we don't feel. How does that work in reality? You know, and I would ask those kind of questions. And then they'll start talking about the plates shifting and this and that. I said, well, are they truly plates? You know, like, well, let's talk about it, you know. And it's pretty interesting when you think about it. It's like, okay, especially when you got a really massive earthquake, like something, what is it, like a 5-pointer on the 5-point on the Richter scale?
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is moving, right?
Right.
I've been in some serious earthquakes, you know, in the past, especially when I was in the military. And we would have them, and I'm like, whoa, you know, and you can feel it's like you can't run nowhere. Everything is moving. They claim that's happening, and we don't know about it. I think that's a good talking point, you know.
Earthquakes. Yeah. I'm like, so right. Man, that's funny how people will believe that the earth is spinning, but then they're like, well, earthquakes, and so you know that an earthquake is taking place, but you have to believe in the whole spinning earth thing. It's like, right. That's why it's a religion, man. That's why we call it scientism. And right. You know, and there's a difference. This is why, okay, just to clarify for the Globey in the comments saying that I wouldn't have the solar panel without science. We don't deny science. We're not anti-science. We're not. We respect science. We embrace science. We practice science. We don't respect that theoretical science. We don't respect that pseudoscience. We respect applied science.
Right.
Okay. Like, look here. Let me go vegan warrior real quick. Okay. Now this phone right here. This phone is solid. All right. I know that if I turn this phone on, you can see this logo right here. Okay, I know that this phone works. I know that somebody put the time and effort into meticulously putting this phone together. This is applied science. I can touch it, I can feel it, I can experience it. It works. I can make calls on it. I can watch videos, send text messages, and all that stuff. Okay, this is applied science. The theoretical science, the black holes, you haven't experienced that. Dark matter out in space, you haven't experienced that. The theories like gravity, how out in space gravity acts as a force that pulls bodies towards it. It acts as a force that pulls a body towards another depending on its mass. But for some reason or another, it's like these things aren't drawing each other together. Like all these planets have been so far away from the sun and stayed at that distance. Like the sun's gravitational pull isn't actually pulling things towards it out in space. The sun's not pulling anything towards it out in space, because if it was pulling everything towards it out in space, we would all ran into the sun already.
Right. Global warming.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, and this is where they would say, no, we actually are inching towards the sun, but we're going to crash into the sun in like 1 billion years. So they're just saying, oh, it's going to happen. You're just going to be dead before it happens. So what? And the idea of this whole gravitational situation taking place. And I talked to a guy about this earlier, and I'm like, okay, so you believe in gravity? Got you. And they're saying that it works really slowly. Somebody said it happens really slowly as far as gravity pulling things together. It doesn't happen slowly on Earth. Why does the sun take so long? Because if I drop this quarter, you're saying gravity's pulling the quarter down. Why did it happen that fast here on Earth that the quarter's being pulled down by the gravitational pull? How'd the quarter fall to the ground so quick, but the sun's taking millions of years to pull the Earth towards it? Why is it that the times where the sun's over here and the Earth is over here and the moon is between the sun's gravitational pull doesn't pull the moon away, pull the moon into its orbit, because there are all these other planets that are millions of miles beyond the Earth that are still caught up in the sun's gravitational pull. But for some reason or another, the Earth's gravitational pull seems to supersede the gravitational pull of the sun. What? Come on. It makes no sense.
But I have a question. Well, way before the Earth ever hits the sun, based on their calculations, shouldn't the moon hit the Earth? The moon is way closer to the Earth, and we're a larger mass.
Yep.
And the moon is a smaller mass.
Yeah.
And it's attracted to us, right? And it has to be inching closer based on the model of the Earth and the sun. So therefore, the moon should slam into the Earth way before the Earth slams into the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. That I'm saying, I'm just
using their logic. I'm using what they claim to be true.
That's it, man. And I'm saying that's what I like to do, is just, okay, I want you to think about the stuff that you're saying. I want you to think about the stuff that you are saying that you believe, because if you believe in gravity, or you believe in the globe, you believe in this, you believe in the gravitational pull, the idea of being pulled towards something. I'm like, what is the sun pulling towards it? The other planets? No. Because is it pulling the Earth towards it? No. Is it pulling the moon? No. The sun's gravity must be weaker than the Earth's. That's all we can come up with. Because I mean, I can drop something right now on Earth and it happens immediately, and it's just going to take millions of years for the Earth to collide with the sun. But like you said, that means that the moon should slam into the Earth at some point, because the Earth's gravitational pull is so strong that it should pull the moon towards us at some point. So come on, man.
Yeah. It's only 238,000 miles away, right? So
yeah.
How far are we away from the sun?
93 million miles away, sir. That's how far I'm, because scientists said so. 93 million miles away. So it's going to take a little longer for the sun to pull us towards it from this distance. I can't even.
You got another lie you got to contend with. The fact that the moon has its own gravitational pull, which is affecting all the tides on the Earth. So the smaller mass is creating the tides on the larger mass.
That's weird.
It's very weird.
I'm saying that's a good one.
So
That's a good one.
that's why you got a bulging ocean, because it's being pulled towards the moon.
Yep.
And am I correct in that? Isn't that what they taught us?
Yeah, but oddly, the water in my glass it's not affected by the moon. I mean it.
Well, it's relative. It's relative.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right. Gotcha. Oh, hey, I see something in the chat. Lil Rob, 820, thank you. I was meaning to talk about that. Have you heard about how the official community is actually kind of rolling their eyes at Trump concerning the Space Force? It's like they're not feeling them. Like NASA is actually kind of kicking against that whole idea of him putting in a
Space
six.
cop.
Yeah, you know, putting in the Space Force, man. And they're not feeling it.
I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know. If you were president and you knew this was all BS, right? And it's above you. It's driven by the establishment. It's driven by the Illuminati. And I'm not saying I'm some Trump follower, because I'm not.
Right.
If you wanted to take shots at them, but you couldn't openly do it, saying something like, I'm going to put space cops, a space force out there, would that be your way of messing with them, you know, but you really can't do nothing to them, you know?
If I was trying to troll them and I knew that they were full of it, if I was trying to troll, let me turn on my other light. There we go. It's getting dark out here. Now I'm all shiny. All right, so look, if I was trying to troll them, I'll probably do something like that. Go ahead and say that we're gonna put space cops out in space, and you know, we're gonna guard them like this, and you know, man, they're kicking against that. And I saw Scott Kelly. Scott Kelly was like, nah, I mean, we don't really, nah, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of like, that doesn't sound like such a great idea. And I heard in one video that Trump like didn't even talk to NASA before he announced that. Like he had the idea and then he just put it out there, and he's like, we should start a space force. And they're like, what'd he say? You know what I'm saying? Oh crap.
So maybe Trump is just trolling them because you know it's all fake. You know?
Yeah.
Because half the stuff he does, he's just regurgitating what they tell him to do. You know, I don't believe a president has their own mind. They have to follow the system. So if I was going to troll, that would be a great way to troll. To your point.
Yeah. I think so. That's hilarious, man. It's I don't know. It's hard to tell what's real. It's hard to tell what's real with this whole political theater, man. But the whole idea of the stuff that's going on, man. Dude, look into that QAnon stuff. You'll and you're good with the investigational aspect. So I'm gonna have to look closer into QAnon, because if I'm saying you gotta look into it, I really need to look into it more, because you get deep into these things. So check that stuff out, and we can have a chat about that next week, or week after, whenever it's good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking I've been dealing with it. I just didn't know the name was QAnon. Or is that something new? Is that something new, or is that something that's been around for a long time?
Oh no, that whole QAnon thing that popped up like last October is when they first started posting. It's like either a individual or a group of people who is posting on the 8chan and 4chan with these little drops and all that, telling people what to look out for in the news, and just giving information as far as them being connected to Trump and all that. I mean, it's pretty there's a lot of stuff that you kind of can't call a coincidence after a while. And part of it is the whole situation with these pedophile rings being broken up, and the most recent thing that looks like it's a big thing is that whole situation with the Pope. Now like I said, I'm not hanging my hat on it. I'm not putting my eggs in that basket. I'm still monitoring the situation. I'm still, skeptical about the whole thing, but it does look like it kind of creeps towards it might be the narrative. And if it's not, that's a pretty solid psyop. It's a pretty solid psyop. It's some pretty complex theater that they're playing out here, man. If that's another one of these mind games that they're playing, this one's pretty good. I see Big Dread in the house. What's happening, bro?
Yeah, Big Dread. What's up, brother? You know what I think it is? I think a lot of times the truth comes out and they can't stop it from coming out. And what they do is they just start trying to manage it. Because I think the narrative that's going to make this thing go away is that the guy that brought this information out just didn't like Pope Francis. He's trying to discredit him, whatever. And they're going to say that over and over and over again. And they're going to downplay that guy. And he's 77 years old. They'll probably say he's going senile. You know what I mean? They'll play that game. The reason why I think this is going to go away is because of Hillary Clinton. There was so much evidence against Hillary Clinton.
Facts.
When was the last time you heard anybody say anything about Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton should be behind bars right now, literally behind bars, based on all the stuff that came out, and to include the pedophilia stuff. So if she can walk away from this, you best believe the Pope can walk away from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think anything significant is going to happen.
And that's what I would call, that's another reason why I'm still holding out skepticism as far as this whole thing goes. Cause I'm like, look, that's the canary in the coal mine, as it were. If Hillary Clinton isn't brought up on some charge for something, cause you got the pedophilia stuff, you got the stuff with the Clinton Foundation, the money laundering. You got that stack of dead bodies that's been left in the wake of, all these people that were close to the Clintons mysteriously come up dead. This guy, Vince Foster, he ends up committing suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head twice. What? You got the Clinton Health Access Initiative, that the money laundering scheme. You got them screwing Haiti out of all that money from the earthquake relief. You got the email situation. You got, dude, they even put it on the news. And they did a fact check on air. We're just hearing that Hillary, she had a subpoena from the FBI for these devices and all that, and we heard that she had her staff crushing these things with a hammer. Is that true? And dudes like, yeah, with hammers. They're crushing phones with hammers. I'm like, vegan. So basically the FBI says, hey, we're going to need to check your server, and we're going to need access to your Blackberries and all your phones and all that. And if you could bring those on, that'd be great. And she was like, yeah, okay. Click, pick up the phone. Hey, I need you to crush these things. And they grab all her phones and start breaking them with hammers. Yeah, and she's got no repercussion with that. That's my thing. I'm like,
well, the other aspect of this, you got to understand that the FBI, it works for the presidency. You know what I mean? So how could the new incoming president at the time allow her to get away with that much stuff if he was truly in control?
Right.
You know what I mean? And why would he do that? I mean, maybe because there's a former president involved, and they're more concerned with protecting the institution. Maybe that's the ideal, but that's going to be the same ideal for the Pope too. You know what I mean? They're more concerned with the position of the Pope and the position of their religious order than the actual individual crimes. And I think that's how they let Hillary get off, because Hillary got off. People still think that stuff is going to happen to her later. As long as she's married, was a first lady and was married to the president, they can't put her behind bars.
Right.
And they won't. It's kind of like a presidential courtesy. Even if they did, they probably will partner or something like that.
Man.
So it's crazy.
I'm like, look, I'm not going to believe that any major changes are being made until I see her in an orange jumpsuit. on the way to Guantanamo Bay, or with some cuffs on, being frog marched off to a van or something. To just, I'm saying, man, it's not. Nah,
Yeah.
it ain't gonna work, because it's like too much stuff out there on her, man. And I'm like, come on now, come on.
And then there's a side of me that says it was a big facade, all of it. You know what I mean? Because think about it. Trump is from New York. Hillary is the senator of New York. And a lot of people don't know this. Trump used to be Democrat, or he used to be a supporter of the Democrats. You know, I believe he supported her first term or second term or something like that. You know, so it's kind of like you don't know what to believe, who's real and who's not. And I
Yeah,
think he designed it that way. You
yeah,
know,
man.
everything in New York is Democrat. So it's one of those things. How can a Republican come out of New York?
Yeah,
That just
yeah,
makes no sense, you know. Well, no. Giuliani was Republican, wasn't
yeah.
he? Giuliani, yeah, he was
Rudy, he supports Trump. Yeah,
right, and he was Republican also, and he ran for president. But the point is that these guys are all connected somehow. They're all connected. They're all chosen, and if they're being chosen, that means there's people above them that's holding all the strings.
yep,
And did they design the scandal to come out so Hillary wouldn't win? Because if the scandal stuff didn't come out, she should have won, right? I'm not saying she was a better candidate, but you talking about Donald Trump, you know, who's never been mayor, who's never been a senator, who's never been a governor, you know, has never done none of that shit, you know?
yeah,
So it's kind of like, how did he win? Because he's a billionaire? I mean, did
yeah.
people really like him prior to running? I mean, I don't know.
I think
Uh,
a lot of people did like him prior to running, and over
well,
time
he did the Obama birth certificate though.
there was that, and also he put up a few flat Earth tweets a few years back. Yeah, Trump was out here putting up Bible verses and all that, you know, and he was on one interview, said something like, you know, I'm always in my private jet flying, and if the earth was round, I would know it. Trust me.
What?
Yeah, Trump might be a closet flat earther. I mean, he put up some tweets and he deleted them, but you can still check those deleted tweets. They're online somewhere. There's some way or another you can check deleted tweets. But
Right.
yeah, he put some stuff up a while ago. But I mean, just the same, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, man, because I mean, he's still. Here's the thing. Here's the litmus test. He's still backing the state of Israel.
Yeah.
He's still cool with Netanyahu, far as I know. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's that. You know, we still saw him over there with the yarmulke on, touching the wall, however they do it. You know, I mean, he's still down with them, man. I believe he went to a Jesuit school growing up and all. So it's
Yeah.
hard to tell, man. It's hard to tell. But
Yeah.
you know, time is gonna show us all that stuff as far as this whole political theater. But
Well,
you know,
politics tends to just go its 8 years and then disappear. Like Obama stuff, it's like it just came and gone. It's a blur. Everything about Obama is a blur to me right now. I can't remember nothing he's done. Well, he didn't do anything, but his
yeah,
whole presidency is a blur now. And at
right,
some point, Trump's presidency is going to be a blur. And I guarantee you, he'll probably get another 4 years. He'll probably get another 4 years.
oh yeah,
Despite all the stuff they say about him, you know.
yeah. I believe so. I believe he's gonna get the reelection. Because I mean, dude's got a lot of support out there. Dude's got a lot of support, and it's a lot of people who are, you know, buying into the QAnon aspect of things. That, you know, and folks are like, yeah, he is making America great again, and you know, the stock market's at, you know, the Dow hit, you know, what's it, the Dow, what, 26,000,
Yeah, yeah.
like that's never happened in history. And you know, he's always doing these speeches talking about how, you know, this unemployment rate is at the lowest in history, and this group's unemployment rate is the lowest in X amount of years. And I mean, it looks like some stuff is happening, so he's got a lot of support. And the Democrats, as far as I can tell, they have no message except we're not Trump. You know, that's all they got. That's all they got. You know, so
Yeah.
it's all good, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I don't have no horse in the race. I have
right.
no horse in the race. I mean, if we can get an honest flat earther to run for president, I'll vote for him. You
All right.
know.
All right. I think I just made the cutoff with the age, so we'll see what's up, man. I'm a roaster made it that far, so I think I could start
Hey,
pulling start pulling
pre
together for the campaign. We'll see.
Dem in the chat said Obama killed Bin Laden. LOL. That was the one thing he did. He killed Bin Laden.
But did he though? Because I mean the circumstances. What? Okay, so what happened was SEAL Team 6 goes in, they kick the door in, they kill him, and then bring him onto a boat, and then on the way back to the U.S. they dump his body overseas to give him a proper burial. Like,
And
what?
Muslims don't bury their people that way.
Hello. But I'm saying, I'm like, so what do you mean? It was spooky, man. And Bin Laden was a CIA operative from back in the day, and we
Yeah,
saw those videos coming out where he would drop a video. He was dropping more videos than Tupac. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? It's like, you'll see the ones where he's skinny Bin Laden, and then you'll see the grainy one where he's kind of look like he's putting on weight, although he's living in a cave. And
right.
then, I mean, it's crazy, man. But that
Yeah.
whole situation was bogus. I'm like, come on, man. You're telling me that a dude in a cave? We're about to go all into the 9/11 rabbit hole. Everybody knows this one. 2 planes cannot knock down 3 buildings. Period.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't even have to be good at math to know that. But I mean,
Yeah, man. So much has happened in our lifetime, man. It's just ridiculous.
so much is still happening, and I mean, like, what's next?
Yeah, yeah. There ain't too much we can do about it.
Yeah, just
Except for, just expose it.
yeah.
But it's so many people that just want to believe in Big Brother,
Oh man, the stuff that's coming out, the stuff that's being talked about, the advances in artificial intelligence, data collection. I mean, there's that real ID that's coming out in 2020, man. They're clamping down for real as far as this whole Big Brother New World Order
How
thing.
they supposed to do that ID? They gonna put it inserted under your arm or some shit? Or
Nah, they're making it. It's basically going to be a national ID card. Is what it's going to be. It's like they're not going to take your regular state driver's license. It's like we're coming to a point to where your license is going to be is going to expire before the real ID is mandatory. So you're probably going to get a notice in the mail saying, okay, your license is about to expire and you don't have a real ID compliant driver's license or whatever, or a form of ID. So you can't travel commercially or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Is you can't enter any government facilities, and you can't take commercial flights. And I mean, it's just one step away from, okay, people are going to say, all right, well, I don't want a real ID and I don't want to fly commercially. I'll just drive to where I got to go. So at some point, it's going to be checkpoints on the road to make sure that you can go from state to state to see if you got your real ID. Like, they're going to, I'm saying it's part of that Agenda 2030, just breaking it into regions and all that. So going from one region to the next, it's like you're going to have that ID to travel. So, I mean, it's like they're just inching stuff one step at a time, man.
it's time for me to move into my van and live off the land.
Hello. You know what I'm saying? It's getting.
I ain't doing none of that. I'm sorry.
Right. And then after that, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna just make it automated. Well, we no longer have the readers to scan cards anymore. All we got now is the readers to scan your microchip. And if you don't have the microchip, I'm sorry, you can't interact with society. It's like they're doing this thing, man. So we got to get rid of these folks, dude.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of these folks for real.
Yeah. They got to be exposed.
For real.
And the bad part, we fight them off, we get old, and then they keep pushing it onto our children. You know,
Right.
it's crazy because we're gonna get to a point. Shit. I turn 50 next week. I only got about 10, 15, maybe 20 more years of fight in me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the next generations are gonna have to come up and fight.
Right.
Generations. So it's about the educational system. If it, how much control do we have over teaching our children, and preparing them for this stuff that we know to be true? And on the surface, it looks like we don't have any, but we actually have more than what we think. We just got to come up with a good strategy. Because honestly, a lot of this, if we don't fix it soon, it's going to be so out of control that our only corrective action will be to start instilling it in the younger generations so they can keep the fight going.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we got to do at this point anyway, and that's something that is coming on the horizon. Eric Dubé just released I believe he just published a children's book, a children's flat earth book.
I didn't watch that video. I'm gonna watch that. I never
Yeah.
got.
Yeah, that was my man Flat Earth, Banjo, Japan, USA, Brazil, something like that. It's like he put a video up about reviewing that book. And that's something that we could put out there, man. It's like we Operation Wake the Babies, you know what I'm saying? Operation Wake the Babies, man. We got to wake the kids up to this stuff too, because if the kids aren't going to fall for it. Not if we wake them up early, and they're not going to go along with it if they grow up knowing where stuff is going. So we can be optimistic in that we can show the children this is what's going on. Okay, they lied to you about this. It's like you got to take 2 sets of notes when you go to school. Okay, you're still ended up going to the school system if you can't be homeschooled, but here's what you got to know. You got to say this stuff just to pass and get your passing grades, but here are the facts.
Right.
So I mean, it's gonna have to be something like that, man. It's like we got a whole lot of different fronts that we got to work on, man. So having these sessions where we kind of brainstorm on these things is it's a real good thing, man.
Yeah, and then that's the uncomfortable stuff, because right now we want to believe that we're going to be able to change the world enough where our kids won't have to endure this, but they're already enduring it.
Yep.
If you're in your 30s and you have any young kids, or 40s and you have any young kids, they're already being indoctrinated. They're already getting the same exact indoctrination that you're having. And a lot of us are struggling because, let's say you've awakened to flat earth, but maybe your wife haven't, and you got a kid. So it's like, okay, well, how do you get this message to your kid, but your wife is saying, no, don't be teaching them that, or vice versa. The wife doesn't awaken and the husband is still asleep. So it's ugly. It's ugly, man. And that's the long game. The short game is we keep coming at their grill and we make them give in. And at some point, we're going to have to turn up the heat, and we're going to have to get more creative. Like you were talking about activism and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That would be our short game. Our long game is we got to get our kids in the fight.
Yep. And some of it's happening already. It's already kids talking to other kids about flat earth and all that too, because I mean, they get their parents' device, they can hop on YouTube and watch some videos just the same, and then they'll end up talking to some other kids like, yeah, we're not on the globe. This guy on this video, what I'm saying, this guy on my mommy's iPad said that this thing's flat. Like, what is this? It's I mean, stuff is happening. There is a lot of awareness being spread, but it's like we all just got to kind of turn it up, man. And I think this is a thought revolution, and it's just a matter of when enough people wake up to the facts that government can't be trusted. And that's why I play on flat earth. That's why I kind of stay on flat earth, man, because this is like the ground game. They lied to us about the stage. The whole world is a stage, and they lied to us about the stage too. So once somebody figures out, wait a minute, they told us that the earth is a globe, that we're flying through infinite space, that we come from a big bang and all that. So what happens is they then come to the conclusion, okay, if the earth is flat, water doesn't curve. That's true. So that means that the governments of the world had to know about this and deliberately kept this from us. So at that point, they figure out the governments can't be trusted. When enough people figure out that the governments can't be trusted and they are basically unnecessary, because you got to think about this. The government system, the way it's set, it's antiquated. The way that it used to work is that we would have a representative that would meet up with the people, take suggestions from the folks, and then get on a horse and buggy, head out 2 weeks or whatever to Washington D.C., lay this stuff out, and then say, hey, okay, so yeah, this is what the people want. And then they would go to the president and write out the bills, and they would have meetings and all that. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't need representatives anymore like that, like we used to, because right now you're in Delaware, I'm in Washington, and we're talking real time. What? We don't need some dude to represent us. Okay?
Right.
I mean, we can represent ourselves at this point, because man, we could get somebody on this stream from Australia, New Zealand, somebody in Dubai. We can all be talking all across the plane from different places at different times, real time right now. We don't need representatives. We don't need government. I mean, who's going to fix the roads? We'll figure it out. but we don't need them doing stuff like putting 90-year-old veterans in jail for feeding homeless people. We don't need the government for that. We don't need the government to do stuff like pay contracting companies to build park benches that have spikes that come out of them, or to build the little areas under the bridges that have the spikes where homeless people can't sleep. We don't need that. We don't need government for that. We don't need rulers. We don't need them. So when enough people figure out that they're unnecessary and that they can't be trusted, that's when we're talking.
Exactly. And the crazy part is, in our society now, they're trying to replace us, the workforce. They're trying to create AIs and different things to take the place of people. But what we really should be focusing on is coming up with some type of unique approach to govern ourselves, where we really don't need them. So they're saying they don't need us because of AI, but in reality, we don't need them.
Exactly.
So we should get rid of them. And another big shout out to Dredd, because I was talking about the children, and his daughter is on it. You know what I mean? He what is it, Flat Earth Teen? I think that's the handle she goes by.
Yeah, Raven.
He's doing exactly what we were just talking about. His kids are growing up knowing what Flat Earth is.
Yeah.
And so when they go to school and they hear all the globe Earth propaganda, Flat Earth Teen is in there, checking them. You know what I mean? So I've seen some of her videos, and it's pretty good. But that's the kind of stuff we need for all our children, And it's hard when you deal with our children. It's so sensitive. We don't want them to be outcasts. We don't want them to be ridiculed. We don't want them to be reprimanded, because you taught them something that mainstream is not accepting. So it's very delicate, but if they don't get it, they're going to become part of the problem.
That's true.
They're going to become part of the problem, and then they're going to start. They're the next generation of minions to support the globe.
Right.
And we got to stop that. Or at least provide enough information so they can make a good, rational decision.
Exactly. So that's my thing, man. I'm like, yo, if we can shut it down, start at Flat Earth, let them know that we've been deceived about where we live. Governments can't be trusted. I think that's a good start. I think that's a real good start, honestly. And that's why I'm like, I'm not trying to plug myself on this thing, but I'm putting in the work out here because it's necessary that we figure out where we are. And if I got the time, I got the resources to go do this stuff, please share it, because I'm doing it for the community. I'm doing this so we get that information out here and figure out, what's real out here. So you know, this next thing, you remember that video that I put up earlier, man. I'm working on some other stuff. I'm working on some other stuff in addition to that, and I, man, I don't know if I told you about exactly what we got going on, man, but it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot. There's not gonna be any denying anything, any aspect of that. Once that thing gets put up. So
Right.
that's it, man. That's it, man.
And all we can do is our best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all we can do. That's the only requirement of Flat Earth. Whatever you do it to the fullest and do it to the best of your ability. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you make a mistake, so what? You know, learn from your mistake and keep trying.
Yep. Absolutely.
And Jaron's a good example of that. You know, he's done some experiments and he felt like they could have been done better, and he was open and honest with that. And then they try to ridicule him for that. I mean, I prefer to have people that make mistakes and that will learn from their mistakes and be honest about it versus try to cover it up, you know, or try to act like it's legitimate when it's not, you know, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a long fight.
Yep.
It's gonna be a long fight, you know.
And well, I'll continue being one of the soldiers out here, man. Because
yeah, we're definitely in the front lines here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm dedicated to this thing, and I'm in it. I'm in it. This is like what I do. This isn't just, I'm not playing around with this thing, man, for real.
Right.
But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We're reaching a point of not so much saturation, but critical mass is coming. It's coming quick. It's coming quick. I'm telling you. Just from my experience, man, it's a lot of people waking up to this stuff. I mean, the way that people have been reacting in traffic, I've been getting a lot more positive feedback driving up the street, driving down the freeway than ever, like the last couple months. I can tell you that. So things are changing, man. I can tell you.
Yeah. And a lot of it has to do with your efforts. You know, you're having a direct impact on your piece of the pie, you know, which is all that we can do. Whatever your piece of the pie in the world is, you want to have an impact on it, you know?
Yeah, and that's what what I encourage. And people tell me I need to, hey, okay, the earth is flat, move on to something else. I'm like, this is what I do. Let me do what I do. Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, don't tell me that I need to be talking about this or that. This is what I do. If you want this information you know where to get it from. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not your puppet. I got a video about that. But it's just a matter of everybody. I mean, whatever it is, if it's chemtrails, vaccines, if it's the Jesuits, the banking system, if it's that whole free man movement, the straw man, the judicial aspect of it, just teaching people about that. If it's, the whole organic off the grid, whatever it is, go hard on that. Go hard on it. If it's veganism, by all means, go in on it, because it's all part of the big reformation of the system, and the system needs to be torn down, but it can be replaced with something better by teachers like yourself and other people out here putting out this good information to like replace it with something better, man. But all right.
Yeah.
It's dark out here and I need to roll.
All right, man. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
I appreciate you hanging out with me on this evening, man. Sharing this info. I might or might not be in a spot that I'm probably should be at. But anyway, I'm gonna go get up out of here. Say big thank you to everybody in the chat. Love you all. Hoping everybody has a great weekend. I got a 3-day, by the way. Oh, by the way, everybody, Vegan Warriors got a birthday coming up, just so you know. Let me see. Shout out to Miss Deborah. Special thanks to Quatron Flat, Rambo Jambo, Ichiban Oxford, Earth is Seriously Flat, MID, ICH. I want to say Midic, but it's kind of, I'm saying, DR Lee, Michael T. Powell, Yeah, that about it. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Get some rest. Even on Labor Day, go ahead and get some rest. I hope everybody's doing well. As always, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay flat. See y'all next time. Thank you.